Um, so we'll get started. Eden did reach out to me. She may not be able to make it this morning. She's going to try her best, but we have uh, we have the number of members we need to get the show going. So, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are all well. Good to see you, and happy New Year to all of you.
Good morning.
I hope the break gave you an opportunity to rest and enjoy your families, and take in some of that time to hopefully do a little bit of relaxing. I know it's not always easy for us to make the best use of that time, as we're always being pulled in this way, that way, or another. But I'm hoping you were able to enjoy a little bit of that time with loved ones. So we're going to call the meeting to order. Let me bring up our minutes so that we can review our minutes for today, and then we'll get going with our presentations for the morning. Oh, welcome, Shanette. I see that you are on. Welcome to the
Thank
team. We'll do a
you.
quick little intro for you in just a moment.
Okay.
Get minutes up. I'll put the minutes in the chat for everyone so that you guys can do a quick little review. Hopefully come to consensus on them. Put them in the chat, and I will share it on my screen. For those that are more comfortable reading off the screen, we'll do it both ways. It's a little bit bigger. Oops. Okay, folks, if you had an opportunity to read through the minutes, can we come to consensus on approval for our minutes today? Give me a quick little thumbs up.
Yes.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Shanette. Rob, we're good. Lamar, we're good. I'm not sure if Mr. Marino froze. It looks like he froze. That's a perfect time for anyone who wants to take that quick little camera shot of Mr. Marino completely frozen on the screen. That way we can share it with him later. That is awesome.
I think he fell asleep.
completely frozen on there. Let's see if I can give him a quick little text, let him know.
Too much Billy Joel.
Yeah. For sure, Rachel. It knocked him right out. Oh, there he is. Welcome back, Rob. I just said that we were going to take a really nice little candid shot of you completely frozen on the screen.
Every 15 or 20 minutes, the Wi-Fi stops in my office. I have to click the button again. So that's what happens.
So listen, I get it. So we're going to quickly go through, I'll run through the agenda with everyone. So today I'm just going to go through some quick greetings, updates and reminders. We're going to do a DCEP mid-year review in the sense of just sharing with you guys where we want to be by the end of this month in terms of progress with our kids. I want to talk a little bit about our parent engagement policy again. I did share before the break the revised version of that parent engagement policy. So we will we'll review that again, give it one more once over, come to consensus on it as a team, and then it'll be our policy for the next 2 years through 2027. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that. And I do want to talk a little bit more around just making sure that our parents are receiving feedback on the progress of their children. We did do that parent survey. It's still coming back at 85%, even though we only received about a little over 1,000 responses. It's still a pretty good sample size, and we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Gus will go through his CEP updates, DCEP posting and accountability of the DCEP. We'll have the high school superintendent's report, followed by all of our constituent groups being able to have an opportunity to share. From President's Council, we'll have our high school president share. Rachel will have an opportunity as well, CEC, CSA, UFT, and DC 37. And then we will close out with any new business that is necessary for today. I'll put the agenda in the chat too, just for you guys to have it. And I will put my presentation in the chat as well, so that you guys can follow along if you rather do it that way than me sharing on the screen. But a big welcome to Shanette Walters, our Queens High School President's Council President. Shanette, welcome to the team. I know that you'll be in and out in terms of alternating,
Yes.
right?
Whenever I'm not triple booked and getting my feet planted. But
Triple book,
Mondays,
quadruple book, I'm sure you're
listen,
probably all
oh
over
my
the
gosh.
place.
I said to Face, I'm like, do they not share calendars to know that there's only one of us? And you want us to split 4 or 5? But thank you so much. I told Patricia I'll jump on today because I actually didn't have any meetings today because we have our meeting tonight. So Monday was
Terrific.
scared. So yes, thank you so much.
Welcome. We're excited that you're here to join us today. So thanks so much.
This is Dr. Mike.
Yeah, who's that? Oh, Rachel, yeah.
Can we backtrack a second on something in the agenda?
Yeah.
It said that the next meeting on February 10th is in person.
Oh, no, that's not true.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you guys want it to be. No, that's not in person. Virtual.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just wanted to clarify that because I thought we were going to do a June meeting, so I didn't know if there was another one snuck in there. So
no, that is virtual. I didn't notice that I left that little part on there when I redid the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's get started. I will share my screen. Okay, so some updates and reminders. I do want to talk to you a little bit about Project Soapbox. I'm really excited about the work that's been happening there. I want to speak to you also briefly about a wellness day that we are looking to plan for March. Collaboration between D25, community-based organization, and Common Point. and the CEC, and certainly our DLT. We'd love for you guys to be connected to that as well. Opportunity for us to kind of build leadership, but also, promote, mental, physical, and social emotional learning wellness across the district. And I want to talk about our winter diagnostic assessments that are going to be going on, that are currently going on, and will be stretching through the remainder of this month and early on in February. So spend a little bit of time talking about that and what our expected outcomes are for this month. And then when we get into February, hopefully our February meeting will have the vast majority of kids will have taken the assessments, and we'll have a little bit of a rundown. If we don't have all of that data ready, we will most definitely do that breakdown in March. Typically, just past years, we usually have most of our kids assessed by that time. So I'm hoping that we're able to do that, in our February meeting. Just a brief welcome back, happy holidays. The reason we share this is, one, just to welcome you all back from the new year, but all of these were AI generated. And we're kind of posting this in here just for you guys to begin thinking about. And I think we do have to start having deeper conversations as a DLT around how we want. Oh, there's Mr. Marino. I like it. That actually came really good, Rob. That came really good. Just for us to start having deeper conversations around artificial intelligence and what that means for us as a district. How are we going to start digging into this? Because the reality is this is not going anywhere. The advancements in technology are happening at a very rapid pace. And for us as a community, I want us to get ahead of that as much as we possibly can and start thinking about where are we entering into that discussion in our classrooms. Administratively, there are so many things that we can do that'll make our jobs more efficient. So we'll start talking more and more about that as time goes on, but planting the seed for you guys to start thinking about it through your lens as a parent, through your lens as a district representative, as the UFT. I know, Lamar, you're on here, and we've started a couple of chats about this too, and I think it's important for us to start digging in as much as we possibly can. So just a reminder, a couple of upcoming events. Tomorrow evening, we have a virtual special education workshop. Nathan from our team will be talking about the classification, IEP classifications, making sure that our parents understand the differences in classification within IEPs. So he'll be doing a session tomorrow on virtually at 6 o'clock. So I invite all of our folks, certainly on the DLT, to participate if you'd like. But also to extend that message out to our families so that they are aware. We will be doing another virtual parent Acadience workshop for our families to make sure that they understand what's going on with their children and the progress that they're making within Acadience. And just a reminder, it's a K-2 assessment. So we're looking to make sure that our families know when they get their reports come the second administration of the assessment, that they know what they're looking at and what it means for their children. And we'll be doing another follow-up with iReady for any families that weren't able to join us in October to get another snapshot. We kind of align these, one, because of our parent engagement goal around progress, but two, just to make sure that they were aligned around the diagnostic assessment windows so that when kids are finished taking those assessments that they know, how to access that information. So that is coming up in February as well. The dates are there for everyone to take advantage of. We are hosting our upcoming Math Family Night is at 1:29 from 5:45 to 7:45. These are always well attended. We currently have over 300 parents that have registered. So we're really, really excited. Typically with that level of registration, we don't typically get all of our families to wind up joining, but we will have a significant number of people there. There is no doubt. So I encourage you guys to join. There'll be pizza, snacks, math games, prizes, and so on, for those that do participate. And it's in alignment with our district goals of really promoting mathematics as a community. So I encourage you guys to participate. Just a quick shout out to the Queens Library. They're doing a new Lunar New Year celebration with a live puppet show. That is at Flushing Library, Queens Public Library in Flushing. So if you have your community, please feel free to share the flyer. It's accessible to everyone in the community. Just some enrollment dates. These you already know. We like to just touch on it anyway, just to make sure everyone's aware. High school admissions, obviously the process is closed. Offers will be released in early March, March 6th. Enrollment dates for our middle schools, that's come and gone. Offers will be released on April 9th. Kindergarten application window closes on the 24th of January, and offers will be released on April 2nd. 3K pre-K, the window opens on the 15th of January, so this Wednesday. They will close on the 28th of February, and then offers released on the 13th and 20th of May. Enrollment for G&T in grades 1 through 4, Monday, April 21st is when it opens, closes on May 9th, and then releases on June the 11th. So Project Soapbox, something that I am really, really excited about and continue to be excited about, as we are a Civics for All district. This means that all of our schools in District 25 participate in, engage our kids in Civics for All lessons, where they have an opportunity to participate in what we call Project Soapbox. That means kids are able to do and engage in research based on an area that they're passionate about, and have some kind of a call to action for the community. And what I really love about this, and what we're going to be doing moving forward, and perhaps maybe we could even invite them here, as well as the CEC, and Rachel, maybe even at President's Council, to invite some of our students to share some of their calls to action that they have. Some of them very, very personal, ranging from personal to those that are much larger ones, like global warming. But we had some kids share their experiences. A second grader that came here, and I mentioned this at our most recent principals meeting, a second grader that came here from China, because unfortunately in China he was not necessarily receiving the care that he needed to support his cancer diagnosis. So he came here and with his family, and they did all that they could to make sure that he was receiving the health care that was necessary for him. But his call to action was around making sure that health care was available to all people that need the support and care. And it's coming from a space of his own personal experience, which, you think about a 7-year-old being able to stand up in front of an audience to convey this message. It's really, really powerful. And that's what we really want for our kids, that they're able to use that voice in a productive way. So what I would love to do at our DLT meetings is bring some of our kids in to share some of those soapbox speeches, bring them into our CEC meetings, bring them into our President's Council meetings, so that they can share that voice and get it out there, and to really show what they know and what they're able to do as learners, which is really, really terrific stuff. So more to follow on this, but really excited about this. We will be doing a Civics for All day at the end of the year, where we're able to consolidate all of the learning from the year. We'll identify students that are going to be able to come and share their projects more widely, for an audience of parents, teachers, students, their peers. And last year was really well done, and I'm looking forward to it this year also. But would love your feedback on this towards the end, whether or not you think that's a good idea to start bringing some of the kids even into our DLT to share some of the things that they're learning. District 25 Youth Leadership Team. This is something that we just started a couple of months ago. It's an outgrowth of where we ended last year. This is being led by one of our team members, Melinda Willens, and two of our teachers from 379, Amanda Solorzano and Elizabeth Levine. They brought together kids from across our district middle schools together to really support an action project of their own, around some of the things that we've organized with our school survey as a district. And they really want to promote this idea of respect. A couple of the ideas that they have already, they've engaged in visits from the Harlem Magic Masters and the Harlem Wizards, and they want to be able to bring them in as a means of promoting that idea of respect, as that is a message that the Harlem Wizards and Harlem Magic Masters kind of throw out there. So they're in the process of organizing, and they also want to create a podcast with me that's going to be, topic based, where they invite guests in and engage in conversations around things that will promote that idea of respect across the district. So I'm excited about that, and more to follow on that as well. District 25 Wellness Day. We have identified, and I'm going to just put in here, it's not in here, but this is just a recent addition. March 15th, Saturday, March 15th is the day that we have identified. And this will be at Common Point, Queens. Location in Bayside by Bay Terrace. Just so that everyone has that on their list. And the goal from this event is to bring together our community, basically in a space of learning a little bit more about Mind Up, our SEL program, promoting mental wellness. We have a member from the CEC that is going to help support that in terms of opening one of the little booths. Physical wellness, we're going to have a number of organizations that are present to do a variety of different physical activities with our kids to promote wellness in that way. So a number of opportunities for our community to come together in a productive way to promote these three areas that are very important to our district community. So if I can just take a moment of pause there, just for you guys to reflect, and any thinking that you can have. So just put like 1 minute on the timer, just for you guys to think about things that you would want to see, in that space. What is making you think, just in terms of the work, how it can connect to your own space and your own constituency, what you would want to be able to bring to that kind of a day. Do you think there's something that can be contributed from the groups that you're working with to support this? Just take a moment of reflection, what it's making you think. Come back together for a quick chat. Okay, anyone have any thoughts? And then we can do a quick round, make sure that everyone has an opportunity to share. Go ahead, Rob.
I like that you're combining the physical and the mental activities together in the same boat. I think you see a lot of these things where it's like, oh, it's SEL Mental Wellness Day, and then you go to another thing, it's a physical thing. I think that they're both so interconnected, the mind and the body, that it's important to build a culture around focusing on both of those things at the same time. We try to do that in our school. Our motto is mind, body, heart. So I see that, it resonates with me. I like it.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Go ahead, Rachel.
Having been involved in the planning process for wellness days back when I worked in HR, I was thinking of like activities. I'm not sure exactly if that's what you were focusing on, but one of the things that was always a hit was having like a 5 to 10 minute chair massage. Usually you can find a few people that'll come in from local massage therapists or physical therapy offices. I thought maybe too, as it relates to both mental health and physical wellness, having some deep breathing exercises. It could just be 15 minutes of practicing deep breathing, because that's helps clear your mind as well as release physical stress. So those were just two things I came up with.
Yeah, I love that, Rachel. And this is kind of an outgrowth of earlier in the year, Mind Up and Goldie Hawn actually went to Common Point. They did a whole production. Lamar will know this. They did a whole production in September where they invited basically the entire community. It was a community event, and they had things from yoga. Their swimming pool was open at the time, so they had like a swimming pool, a swimming activity. They had a slime making activity. They had a whole range of different things that parents and communities can engage with. And Mind Up has agreed to come again. So they're going to be there with us, engaging our kids in some of those types of activities. as you know, part of their work is really around that space of brain breaks and taking those deep breaths. So that'll be part of it for sure. I do like the idea of the massage therapists. I'm sure that parents would appreciate that, a little bit of space to sit down and get a little bit of relaxing, I'm sure. So that maybe can be an organization that we try. If Rachel, if you know any groups that might be willing to do that, certainly extend it to us and we can do some outreach for sure. But I love that. Gus, anything that you want to add here? Anything that you hear inside of this space?
The only thing that I would say is that the information gathered and the items highlighted should find their way into the CEP and the DCEP in terms of activities and actions on the part of the schools and the district. That's what I would add.
Yeah, thanks, Gus. And I think there's a space for that right in our goal number 2,
Yeah.
which is very much connected to SEL and promoting that space of respect, kindness, and all that. Yeah. Shanette, anything that you would like to add? And and folks, as I get to you, if there's nothing that you want to add, certainly pass if you like. But Shanette, anything that's coming to mind?
Yes, yes. I'm a poetry person, and I find with my daughter and other parents, sometimes we would read out poems. You don't have to make the poem, you go and you go around and you pick a poem that you feel touches you that you could share with others, and we would put and say, just give us a poem that you feel connects with whatever is on your mind, because it could be affecting someone else, and just do readouts. So like at some meetings that I've gone to, PTA meetings, the parents take like 5 minutes and they'll read out poems, and it changes the mood of the room, and I find that it opens up for calmness. And sometimes if it brings up a trigger stuff, then it opens up for conversations as well. So that would be
Yeah, I love that.
my thing. Yeah. And you do a theme and they come up ahead and they just, look it up on their phone and they'll read it out on the Zooms. And we've had good experiences with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. My head, you hear about poetry, goes right to that whole idea of like a poetry slam where kids
Yeah,
get
yes.
to engage in that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Love that.
Yeah.
Monique, anything that you want to add? Oh, I can't hear you. I know you said you were having some audio issues. Mm-mm.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I gotcha.
Okay. So just for me, I was thinking more like I'm a little concerned with the site, just for downtown Flushing families. I know there are many buses that do travel over into Bayside, into Bay Terrace, but just location, if you're trying, and not only just downtown Flushing, but also the side where 219 is, 154, in Queens where like 2-3 fare zones, not everyone drives. So just as far as turnout, that's what I'm bringing up. If we're going to really encompass District 25, we have to be mindful of the locations where other family members are coming, other, families are coming from. The other thing is resources. We have an Al Order Center. I don't know if you guys know it, that it's a rec center down in Flushing, where Flushing Meadow Park is. And that's actually city run. We have the pool, we have an ice skating rink down there. So maybe getting someone from that facility. I believe parents can join up. I think it's a small fee to be a member. And it entitles them to use, they have a basketball court, a track, big soccer program in Flushing. The soccer stadium is coming. So that's going to definitely get really big in Flushing. Also, I've always worked with the New York Mets. They always come out, they always show up for us at District 25. And then just resources like maybe someone from the educational department, from FDNY. I know a lot of our families who live in downtown Flushing utilize Charles B. Wang Health Center. they are always want to come out to the community and provide whatever information and services. Also, I believe, I'm not sure, they always change names on me, but we also used to work with Emblem Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're always willing to come and donate, give away free things, book bags, things like that for the families. And also, I know many of the District 25 use the Cornell Nutrition Workshop. So maybe one of the presenters that are being utilized in one of the D25 schools might want to come with some information, have a table, and things like that. That was just my idea. Those are my ideas. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Monique. Honestly, even gives me thoughts around even having the Office of School Food, perhaps even do something, being that it's connected with our, with the, it's food always comes up, nutrition always comes up. Any of our meetings, maybe perhaps we can even link them in there because it's directly tied to what happens in our buildings.
Yes. And actually, I was going to mention that later on. They're actually funding a nutrition committee to be in every school. So I don't know how much information the schools have received yet, but we know that our union meets with school foods once a month. And so that's their next thing that they're going to bring back. I don't know if anyone remembers it, but we used to have nutrition committees where it was built with students. But I think now they want to broaden them with parents, students, and bring food, talk about the menu, things like that. So that would be great. If you need any help, let me know.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I think we have 5 schools that are part of that work, Monique. They're doing it in a pilot group first. That organization that's going to come together for sure.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Who did I miss? Lamar, anything else you want to say in here, Lamar, about this?
First of all, good morning, everybody. So I wanted to add on, I was thinking about food as well, like a perspective of diet and dieting and the importance of making sure that you have a healthy balance. I think it's important that people just be mindful of that and where you can get those foods from, in your everyday. I think something as simple as just, those blended smoothies and putting the proper ingredients in there and juicing, how important that is. And if you have that during the day as an adult, as a staff member working in buildings, just carrying that with you, it goes a long way, as opposed to making the quick run to the pizza shop and grabbing something. Like those quick little pizza runs add up versus bringing in something that's, energy for you to last through your days and through your weeks. I think that's really an important message to put out to folks. And then just the reminders, and I don't know what it looks like, but just the reminders of bringing home the fact that, yes, our job is important, but our health and our mindset is more important. There's a time when you're working, I'm thinking home, like you're doing this and that, but there has to be a certain cutoff. And sometimes people go beyond that cutoff, and that's how you're up till midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning doing work. I know people that do this. Right. And if work starts at 8 a.m., you've only given yourself 3-4 hours of sleep a night. You can't function. That's not a sustainable measure. So something where people just know, make the time to cut off your work self from your personal and family self so that it's not fair to either one if you're not putting in the work, to have either side of you grow, something to that effect,
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I know that I'm not necessarily the best best example of what it means to do the healthy eating. That's for sure. So I'll be probably the first one online in that, doing what's right by your body thing.
Dr. Mike, yeah, on that note, I am banning you from offering me any Dr. Pepper sodas when I pass by the office. I'm done with that for 2025, and I love it too. But I got to slow down. So you
Good for you.
cannot
Good.
offer, and everyone on the call is my witness. You cannot offer me any sodas.
I will not.
Okay, that's the end of that conversation. And I can't.
It'll be. We'll make sure we have it at consultation. No problem.
You see, and
I'm offering to take the sodas that he doesn't want.
Yes, nice. I like it, Rob.
Send them my way.
And also, Eduardo, we'll finish up on you, and then we'll move forward with the last 2 things that I want to do today.
Okay, yes, I agree with Lamar. I think food is important. I know that Governor Hochul was saying that she's going to share that New York State will become one of the states that offer universal breakfast and lunch to all students. So we're looking forward to that because kids cannot learn on an empty stomach. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Eduardo. There's no doubt. There's so many things that go into making sure that we stay well every day. And sometimes we take those things for granted, right? And that's us as individuals too, not even necessarily, to the space of the children that we're trying to educate. Sometimes it's important that we remind ourselves too. So I appreciate the feedback on this, everyone, and you know, definitely going to be part, if you're willing to be part of the planning and want to assist in any way, would certainly love that. I do know it's on a Saturday, so that's always tough, but it is something that the more people that we can get there, the better in terms of support for a really productive event. So thank you guys for that feedback. Just a couple of other things that I want to mention. Then I want us to dig into the parent engagement policy just for some feedback before we give that final approval today, because I did send out, as I said, it was a different version than what I shared initially. But I want to quickly give a quick shout out to all of the work that we're doing with athletics. I did share this during the CEC, and I think it's important for everyone to know we have all of these different things that are available for our kids to promote that space of physical wellness. We have our basketball league, which is always quite productive. Soccer teams have each of our soccer teams for elementary schools have an opportunity to play in the bubble by Alley Pond Park, which is really good. One of the reasons why we identify Common Point is because they have the outdoor bubble that they'll be opening for us. It's a really huge space and can accommodate a lot of people. And there's 2 schools right across the street that we can utilize as well. We're doing a pilot for tennis in grades 1 through 3, which we're really excited about. We have cheer across all of our work. Not going to go through this, but those are the schools that are participating. Middle school, we have boys and girls volleyball leagues. Championship game is on January 31st. Any of you that wish to participate in any of that, feel free. Just let me know. We'll let you know when and where. Basketball, the first ever girls league that we've started in terms of a pilot. Unified Bocce, we really love opening ceremonies in February. We're looking to expand that to all of our middle schools this year. In the spring, we have soccer and lacrosse for our middle schools as well. Really trying to create opportunities for all of our kids. And as I mentioned, the Unified Bocce League already. And then lastly, these are some of the partnerships that we have. We have NYCFC working with our schools to promote soccer. We have Special Olympics New York. That really is our Unified Bocce League. That's the league that promotes students with our IEPs, along with our general education learners that participate collaboratively in the Unified Bocce League. We have Disc NY. We have partnership with the Mets, City Lax. New York Islanders is a new partnership that we have, bringing hockey equipment to our buildings for promote the game of hockey. Outdoors Tomorrow Foundation, American Heart Association, and USTA, just to name a couple of them. So, parent engagement policy. I'm going to put this into the chat as well. This is going to take us just a little bit of time for another once over before we give the final approval. I'm going to put it into the chat just for us to read through again. And we'll come to consensus on it, and we will be good to go. It's already in the DCEP. But should there be any other adjustments that we need to make, that's fine. So I'm going to just put the timer on the clock for about 8 minutes. For everyone to review. I will slowly scroll down on my screen. In the event you want to look at it on my screen, I'll blow it up a little bit.
Mike, has this been put into the DCEP already?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to go over it one more time, Gus, to make sure we're good.
Good.
And then we'll be all set.
Mike, Dr. Mike?
Yeah.
In the one section of regarding section 1116, go down where you just were. The second bullet, or no. Yeah, the second bullet talks about if anything is not satisfactory, the parents of participating children will submit comments with the plan. Is this gonna go out district-wide for review, or is that basically just talking about those of us that are parents on the DLT?
So yes, I mean, so this is going to go to you guys as parents of from President's Council, but and we can always go back and make revisions on this. Correct, Gus?
Yeah, yes, and remember, it gets distributed throughout the district in various languages, and it resides on your website, so it's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank
once
you.
this is done, Rachel, we have to get it translated and share. Then it gets shared widely for the community. It's kind of like once we get approval, then we can move on with that step.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Mike,
Yeah,
on this section, D,
which one? D?
D, the first bullet, the transition from preschool to kindergarten, should that be pre-K to kindergarten, or should that be 3K to pre-K to kindergarten? Because, okay,
Got it.
thanks.
Okay. Any other comments or things that we see inside of the plan that you see as necessary to make adjustments on in reading it, or questions that it raises for you as a constituent? Anyone have any thoughts?
Hi, Dr. Mike, it's Monique.
Hi, Monique.
Hi, there was one small, and I have to go back to it because you had scrolled up, but I can find it, highlight it, and so I don't want to hold up the meeting.
Okay, yeah, if you could, that would be great, Monique.
Yes, so
Was
it
it a
just,
typo or something?
no, it just said something about parent coordinators and academics, and we don't, parent coordinators, it was basically the district supporting parent coordinators by having monthly workshops to support parents, families with academics. Um, Yeah, so our role is, roles as parent coordinators are not, I think it just needs to be worded differently because the parent coordinators don't really get involved in academics of a student, or speak to parents regarding the academics. So it's more, I don't know what the workshops are. I don't know what you're referring to as far as academics, and just reading it and it's saying academics is kind of like bringing, so I don't know if that wants to be reworded as far as where the support for like what does that look like, the
So I don't
academic?
know that it's the way that I says provide monthly, if this is the spot you're talking about, provide monthly professional development for parent coordinators in order to turnkey academic, social, and emotional issues to parents
Right.
in their schools. I don't know that that is necessarily them doing it. It's about sharing information. So if we're doing work in literacy, it's just about a PC conveying the message to folks. They don't have to be necessarily a pedagogue to be able to share information. I look at that as being able to share what you know
Right, but
about
turnkeying
schoolwork.
I get what you're saying, but turnkeying academics is not the role of a parent coordinator. And I just don't, that's a concern for that to be in there.
Do you
It
want to say
becomes,
information? Because that's what their role, to me, that is
yeah,
what their role is. If you want to change
yeah.
it from issues to information, we can do
No,
that, but
it's not, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what the mindset is when you have the word academics there. What is the expectation of turnkeying academics?
so yeah, for me, it's, if we're doing work on New York City Reads, and it's PCs sharing that this is what we're doing as a school for New York City Reads. It doesn't mean they have to be the one that's training others in it. You're sharing the information with someone else. That to me is, here's what we're doing. I'm sharing with you as a parent to know that this is what's happening in a school.
So should it
Um,
be, instead of like blanketed academics, should it just be, maybe it needs something else alongside the academics?
I don't know. I
Um,
mean, all of those are the things that are happening in a school. A PC is going to be aware of that, and they're going to share it with parents. To
they
me, it's
can be
about
a, they
information
could be a,
sharing.
well, they could be aware of it, but they're not the expert when it comes to sharing, even if you train them, even if you train them. It's not that's not their role. Like if you look up the definition of roles and responsibilities for parent coordinators, it's building relationships, outreach, facilitating communication, supporting organizations, providing information.
Well,
So,
but that whole
yeah,
spot about
so,
facilitating communication is exactly what that means.
right. So, but they're providing information regarding,
The things that are happening in context of the
mhm,
academics in a school, social emotional learning wise in a school. Yeah, I mean, that's all part of their role.
right. So it's communicating specific school information to families, including information about supplemental services. So that's
Yeah, but
providing the
yeah, it's
information.
providing information. That's what that is. It's about making sure that, parent coordinators got to convey information about the school. Here are the school goals. It's not about them
Right,
being an expert in it, but it's about them sharing what's going on in those areas.
right.
PC needs to know what's happening in
Mm-hmm.
that space.
I get what you're saying, but it's just a blanketed word, academic. So if I'm someone that's not you who did not write it, and I'm just coming and I'm reading it and it's drawing a red flag for me, it's like PCs are in charge for disseminating information regarding academics.
So, but
So,
that's not what it says. It says the issues to parents. It's things that are going on to, in those areas to parents. Here's what I know about our school. We're struggling with our kids' ability to read. We're
mm,
sharing, here's what the school is doing. It's not about them sharing any kind of,
okay.
as an expert academic or an expert pedagogue. It's about them sharing the information.
No, it's right. I understand what you're saying, but in reality, when it comes to academics, they should be referred to their teachers. That's the thing, because the teachers are the ones in the classroom able to answer that. So what a parent coordinator would do would hear the concern and then provide resources as far as how the parent can address their concerns. But we
Yeah.
parent coordinators should not be addressing academic concerns. That's what I'm saying to you. Like
Yeah, I,
we
I,
should
I I
be,
understand
parent
what you're saying,
coordinators
but
should be here.
I don't know that that's what this says. I highlighted, I can reword it,
Okay.
but I don't know that that's what you're saying is what this says. It's about them turnkeying of informational issues. It's not about necessarily becoming the person, the point of contact. You know, if you're having an issue in reading, that you go to the PC. It's about them sharing the info. But I've
Right.
highlighted it. I can adjust the language
Okay.
there.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Eduardo.
So I have a question, page 5, the second paragraph, says these annual meetings are facilitated by the DFA, the District Family Advocate. Is that a line that is still available? I don't know.
No, that should change.
Yeah,
Where do you see that,
yeah,
Eduardo?
it's
Oh, you
on,
highlighted it?
I highlighted, yeah, District Family Advocate, yeah. Yeah.
So the title has changed, Eduardo.
Yes, it doesn't, I don't think it exists anymore. It's either the Family Leadership Coordinator or the Family Support Coordinator. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, that's one
Okay,
common
perfect.
thing that the terminology keeps changing.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Eduardo. Any other comments? Jeanette, I think I saw your hand up too.
I was gonna be repeating what you said in terms of the parent coordinator. I think the hang up becomes when you say turnkey and academics, I think if you say sharing, like if the principal or an AP says to have a workshop done to support math redundancy or promotion ready preparedness, then it's the parent coordinator turnkeying that information. And it's tied to us as parents. We see it as you supporting our academic growth, but we're not going to the parent coordinator to help us with anything. So in terms of the language in the document, I think if you say share out as if you water it down to say parent coordinators will turnkey information to share out with parents as pertaining to academic success, like work, and then say examples, workshops,
So what is it, like turnkey
discussions.
information regarding
Like if they're given, because that's how they
academic, social,
turnkey things.
emotional issues to
Yeah, they don't
parents?
come up with anything on their own. They're given, do a workshop, do a put together, go and get me or here's a workshop that's gonna be happening in the school, share it out. So sometimes for some, depending on high school, elementary or middle school, a parent coordinator will work with the principal or the AP to says, you said to get you someone to come and talk about blah, blah, blah. This is the speaker we got. And it's to support SEL or math or iReady or how to understand iReady. So it's then I think if you put in a bracket, example, workshops, blah, 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 then it's clear as a parent when I'm reading this, I know I'm not going to the parent coordinator because that is not their role. They're to coordinate stuff with us parents, as the name implies, to get us help. So it is a matter of changing the word semantics, as you know, for lack of a word. So depending on the language, you don't want it interpreted as I'm going to the parent coordinator for the parent coordinator to get frustrated. No, you're supposed to go to your math teacher. No, you're supposed to go to AP. It needs to be clear that they're turnkeying, and maybe that word is to evolve for that statement, just to say to share out. You know, we like to use words that in context to one demographics will work, but for some demographics it's, and I could see the hang up. So as the parent in the room, I could honestly tell you, it's not, every word is not for everybody. So it's not like we're dumbing it down, but it's, call it what it is. They share
So this is
out.
what I just shared. Is it provide monthly professional development for parent coordinators in order to share information regarding academic, social, and emotional issues. And then in parentheses, coordinating school workshops and access to resources.
That sounds better. Ask him if she agrees. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yes, it's not it's not an agreement, just bring it out because
Yeah.
you know, as a parent myself, reading the document, also coming from the world of being a PC, that there are already a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
And so for parent coordinators, the academic part, as a parent,
the
I would
word.
never go to a parent coordinator to discuss academics. But if I was a parent that didn't know the chain of command and always knew I had my PC, I wouldn't have that expectation of my PC to
Yeah,
be answering my children's
the only
math.
thing, and I think just adding in the idea of access to resources, the only space that I
Yeah.
would tend to disagree with you with is that some parents, their very first point of contact tends to
Yeah.
be the PC. So parent coordinators need to have an idea of where they go when they are
Yes.
confronted with conversations from from a parent that says, you know what, I've developed a wonderful relationship with Miss Lascano. I'm going to call her because she's going to be able to point me in the right direction. Sometimes
Correct.
it's not even about the
Yeah.
teacher. It's
Correct.
about who's going to give me the answer that I need. And sometimes it's not necessarily the first point of contact being the teacher. So it's
Correct.
about making sure there's access to resources. I just changed that to like the
Okay.
idea of
Yeah, and I'm in
coordinating school
agreement with
workshops
that.
and
That's what
access to resources.
parent coordinators, especially in District 25 throughout the city, they are all the first contact. The issue is
tend
we
to be, you
can't
know, you've
be, we
based on,
also, right, and parents just can't also always have that expectation that we are the people that have all the knowledge, that we are also supposed to be building them and teaching them how to navigate through the Department of Education. So if a parent came to me and told me that their child was struggling with academics or that a parent didn't understand, my next step would be tell me what it is that you don't understand, and I will work with you to see if we can meet with with the head of the math department or a teacher. I'm not saying that parent coordinators aren't the first line. They are. I think everyone in the city of New York knows that parent coordinators are the ones that the families go to first. So I
Yeah.
just want to clarify that.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
see, I agree with you, Monique, but when I was a parent coordinator, I was expected to know what kind of academic intervention programs were available. So if a parent would come to me and say, listen, my child's failing math, well, there is math tutoring going on during lunch and also after school, but here, you should come and speak to the guidance counselor. Kind of like just expected to know that there are safety nets, right, in terms of academic intervention.
And I'm saying the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
As a
yes,
parent coordinator, we know what resources are available
yeah,
in our building. We know where to go to. We know where to send our parents to. The turnkey is the issue. I'm not here to teach
okay,
parents math. That's what I'm saying to you. Not
okay.
everybody can do that.
Yeah, no, and I don't know, and nor should they though, Monique. That's not what the intent of
Exactly.
it is. I think it's about being
Exactly.
able to share information. So I think the adjustment there will make that a little bit more understandable.
Thank you.
Because the role is in, I do agree with Eduardo. It's about having not necessarily the ability to teach a parent all of those things, but to point them in the right direction to get the support that they need for their children. Okay. So moving on. Oh, can we come to consensus other than that change? Are we good with the parent engagement policy? Anyone have any opposition to moving that forward? Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Shanette. Eduardo, we good? Yes, give me
Yes.
a head bob. Monique, with that change, are we good? Yes, Lamar. Okay, perfect, guys. Rob, we're good. I don't know if I saw your, yeah, okay. So we will come to consensus on that. We've come to consensus on the adopting the parent engagement policy through 2027. Obviously, if there's something that needs to be changed, we can always go back and make an adjustment if it's necessary. So that is fine and that's great. Thank you guys for doing that. And the last part that I want to go over with you, which is really, really important for our work as a DLT, is what's coming up in terms of progress monitoring our goals. So just so that everyone knows, reading K to 2, we utilize the Cadence assessment. Reading for iReady is iReady grades. Hold on, sorry guys. Reading is iReady for grades 3 through 8. Math K to 8 iReady, and Algebra 1 Regents for our kids in the 8th grade that are registered to take that. And that window is from January 2nd through February 9th. The expectation for the MOI targets, this I actually adjusted. I have to go back into the DCEP to adjust. The MOI target, we reorganized based on last year's space. So meaning the MOI that you see here, 23, 24, is where our kids performed last year at this time. Our goal is that we are for all students, 2.5% higher than that at this time of the year, and 5% total for the year. For our subgroups, that would be 5% higher than that. What we did initially was we aligned it to the end of year target, and it wouldn't necessarily correspond with apples to apples, MOY to MOY. We want to be at least 5% higher MOY to MOY when it comes to Acadians and our kids reading at grade level by the time they get to the end of grade 2, grade 1, or kindergarten. So we readjusted these percentages, and we're hoping to see by the end of this administration window that we'll be at that 60% overall for our kids in grades K through 2 when it comes to reading. Similarly, we did the same thing for iReady reading in grades 3 through 8. Again, adjusting the overall percentages. We want to be able to see that for our targeted subgroups, we're 5% higher by mid-year, and then hopefully 10% higher by the end of the year. But we're utilizing our iReady diagnostic information at the same point as last year to give us a little bit more clarity. With current benchmarks that we've taken in the past, this will be now multiple years that we are being able to see whether or not we've made the progress. And over the past several years, we've remained pretty much consistent with where we've ended up. This year, we're hoping with the more attention on explicit instruction and use of our work in standalone ESL work and use of intervention programs that we'll be able to see a little bit of a marked change in this. So that's why we adjusted it from MOY to MOY rather than end year and then backtracking. It just gives us a little bit more clarity on the data. Same type of thing for mathematics. I'm sorry, excuse me. Same thing for mathematics. We're seeing the same type of scenario. Now, math is a little bit different in the sense that our mid-year data does not necessarily reflect how we end the school year. We tend to perform at a much higher rate than what our MOY target is. So we will continue to keep our eye on that and share more when we get to the closing of the administration window. Parent survey. The goal would be that by mid-year target, we did get that survey out a little bit late, so we'll do our next one probably in March to gather some additional data on this. We are relatively close to where we were last year at this time in terms of progress. Parents being able to be sure that they are aware of the progress of their child. 85% of our families agree that that's true or strongly agree. We want to make sure that we increase that, and I want to linger over this particular goal for a few minutes with you guys. And lastly, chronic absenteeism. We have met our mark at mid-year in terms of chronic absenteeism rates, although this number continues to climb. Winter months often bring us back into a space where kids are not in school with the same frequency, whether it's because of illness. We do know that at times there are some extended vacations that happen. There are a number of variables, but we want to continue to emphasize this across our schools so that our kids are there on a routine basis. We are below the rates for each of these areas to date. And this was our middle of year target. So we have improved beyond that space right now, but we want to continue to improve because our numbers have slowly been declining. Our attendance rates have been decreasing over the past 2 months. So we want to continue to emphasize it as much as we possibly can. But I do want to go back to this goal in terms of approaches that we can or you think we should be taking to make sure that we're meeting parents' needs by sharing progress. So we are doing several things at the district level to make sure of that through the workshops that we're offering throughout the year, connecting with our building leaders on this. But I'm wondering any thoughts that you guys have in terms of bolstering this in our district community, things that, as a parent that you see as successful for you to make sure that you're receiving the feedback from the UFT side, CSA side. What are some things that we should be making sure that we're aware of so that we can share it widely as a district community, to all of our folks to keep in mind to make sure that parents are informed. So just take a moment in that space of reflection from each of our spaces, whether you are a parent, you're a UFT rep, you're a CSA rep, DC 37 rep. What are some things that we should be considering when we're thinking about making sure that parents are aware of their progress. Now, 85% is, is something we want to improve upon. And while we only had a little over 1,000 parents complete the survey, information is still very, very much aligned with what we saw on the citywide survey, which had about 14,000 parents complete it. So the sampling is showing that it's relatively similar to past experiences. But I'm just wondering, things that we should consider that we can share out more widely to our schools to be thinking about when it comes to sharing progress with parents. Take a moment of reflection, and when you're ready, you want to put your hand up or share a little bit about what we should consider more as a district community. Any comments, thoughts? Yeah, Rob.
I'm just wondering if there's a correlation between parents who feel they're not being notified and those who aren't yet set up with like the parent portal to receive notifications. I know that I mean I can only speak for my own school, and
Yeah, of course.
I could also speak as a parent who has a child in a different district, and we get a lot of their updates through the Gamma portal as a parent, and those progress monitoring emails come right to my inbox in my Gmail, right? So whether or not I'm reaching out to the teachers, which I do, but if I didn't, I would at least have that, and I could say that I'm being informed, right? At 120, we have Gamma and Parent Square, but we do struggle sometimes with parents who have not yet given us accurate information on the parent portal or updated their information. So something that we're doing now with the lower grades in September is we're having parents come in on special days to be signed up to make sure that everything is in order going forward to try to mitigate some of that. Because I don't think that our schools aren't trying. It's not for lack of effort. I think.
Oh, no, of course not. Yeah.
Right, definitely a lack of. It's sometimes it's hard to, meet up with those parents in a way that that works for everyone. Yeah.
Thanks, Rob. Rachel.
Well, I had two thoughts. The first, I know you said we have good participation, but maybe to increase responses, having a flyer with a link, like a one-page flyer that we could share out. We could share it from President's Council. Being the president of President's Council, I'm more aware of, since I hear this 2-3 times, but maybe other presidents may not click for them to share with their parents at their PTA meetings. So having a one-page flyer with that link, again, translated, that we can share out to our communities, might help. I mean, I know everybody gets the email, but with so many emails, we don't want that survey to get lost in the, in the inbox, so to speak. And as far as sharing progress, I think it would be important to have consistency at the school level. For example, for my third grader, I've received home a printout of her performance at the beginning of the year, where she stood with, all the different reading levels. But I did not receive that for my 8th grader. And I only know like his diagnostic scores by logging into his iReady and going through the scores to see what his diagnostic score is. But that just gives me the score. Then I don't have it detailed. And then I actually go to the website and look up the score, the rating sheets to see where he falls in that with that diagnostic score. So, which is a separate effort I have to make, to know where he's falling as far as, is he on grade level? Is he below grade level? which I know is something we look at from the SLT perspective, from the DLT perspective. So I think that's something that should somehow, the schools should be able to share that information.
Love that. Thank you, Rachel. Anyone else? Any other comments? Okay, this is something that we're going to bring back to our team, to our principals, assistant principals, just for further communication around, these are the things we're trying. Here's where we've been successful. We've been able to get more of our families engaged in this process to promote that space of consistency, Rachel, but also, to share some ideas. So I think I just generated a simple question around how do we create a consistent approach to communication to parents, whether it's through using our engagement time, our parent engagement time, or other measures, or the means. How are we doing that really successfully? And perhaps we can come up with a collective decision around what that consistent approach can be, especially around those progress measures with Acadians and iReady and so on. But also the things that we're meeting standards wise in our classroom. So it definitely raises some food for thought for future conversations for sure. Any other comments? Okay, well, that concludes my report. Gus, I'm going to turn it on over to you.
Okay, I basically have updates, ladies and gentlemen. First on CEPs and the DCEPs. I had an inquiry, I don't remember whether it came from this district or one of the others late last week. They were looking for the CEPs online in the public portal, and they weren't there. So I inquired of Central, and they told me that they're in the process of posting them. They had some technical issues. So hopefully they'll start posting them this week. And if by Friday we don't see any, I'll follow up and find out what's going on. But I thought that they were going to start putting them out on a rolling basis, beginning, with the first of the year, but that hasn't taken place. So I'm giving you that update. If you go online on the public portal looking for the DCEP and the CEPs, chances are you're not going to see them unless things changed over the weekend. So we'll see how that progresses. I got a report this morning on CEPs submitted and approved by superintendents. I checked your report, and you have 2 CEPs that still have to be approved by the superintendent. I assume that you know which ones they are.
No, which 2, Gus? I approved all.
I'll check and I'll send you the 2. But I checked before the meeting this morning, and there were 2. You were almost 100%. So I'll check. It could be that there's something wrong with the report, or that the button got pushed but it didn't take. But I'll send you the 2 schools. But unlike most of the city, you're almost at 100%, and I think you're ahead of everybody else in Queens North. There are 2 of your fellow districts have a couple left as well, and 1 district has a substantial number. So citywide, I believe the city is at 60%. So we're doing well in Queens North in relation to the entire city in terms of CEPs completion and approvals. The DCP, thank you. I sent out the DocuSign, and I see that all of you have been, signing the thing, and I get the email back that that's been done. I will probably have to send it out again for any stragglers, but it's moving along, and I appreciate that that's being done. Now, the big piece, of course, is the SLT information and the Title I information in iPlan. And that's complicated. As I've told you repeatedly, I'm sure come June, I'll still be talking about it because citywide, it's a new procedure and it has a lot of moving parts. Just let me remind you of the three moving parts to all of this. Actually, there are four. One is the monthly information that every school needs to put in based on its SLT meetings, agendas, invites, minutes, documents, etc. And we're not even talking about the quality of what's being put in, the fact that those pieces are being put in. And I get those reports citywide on who hasn't done it. So that's one piece. And I send out that information to all of my districts periodically as I get the reports, and then you follow up with the schools on that. But I understand that that's a new procedure and something that's going to be ongoing. Then the second piece, which I think we're pretty well ahead on. I got a report this morning, and that's on the annual meeting. There's a box, a tile, an I-plan for that annual meeting for all Title I schools. I'm going to send you a report on that, Mike, after this meeting. We're doing pretty well with that, but there are still some schools that haven't put in the annual meeting. So that is the piece number two. And then the third piece is the ongoing, just like the SLTs, the monthly information that has to be put in by all the PACs. And I get reports on that. It's usually, sometimes it's separate. I think it's separate from the regular SLT information. So I know that citywide, that information is lagging behind, and I'll send out a report on that. And again, that is a new procedure and an ongoing process that I know I'll still be talking about in June. But I know that we're doing the best we can. And like everything else, we're usually not complete, but ahead of most of the city in getting this done. And then the fourth piece is my piece, putting in DLT information. I don't get reports on that that I send to the district because Central holds me accountable personally for getting that done because I'm doing that personally for all of my districts. And I work with Louis, and you're very good because you have all the information on your website. So what I have to do is periodically go in and put it in terms of all of the DLT meetings, which I try to keep up with as best as I can. And I follow up on that. That's not something that you need to be concerned with unless they ask me for additional information on something that, then I'll have to see if we have it. And one of the things that I know they're very keen on is parent information. And I follow up with the district team to make sure that I have any information on parent activities that are taking place. And you're very good because you send me out this newsletter that I get. I think I got something over the weekend about what was it on a workshop that you're doing on
Yep, we're having
students
our
with special
special-
needs
Yep, tomorrow.
that has to be put in. So that kind of information I get separately from you, and I'll put it into the appropriate place for the iPlan portal as well. Then the last item that I want to mention, I'm sort of on. I have a little bit of anxiety over it. I'm on pins and needles. State Ed has told us that in terms of schools in need of improvement and district status, they are not doing any removals this academic year. So whoever is CSI will remain CSI, whoever is TSI is going to remain TSI, and whoever's in good standing, that's the question. and districts as a whole reflect that. They are going to do some new TSI only identifications by the end of February. So I'm hoping that we won't get any in geographic District 25. If we do, then that will change our district status, and then we'll have to start immediately implementing the interventions for TSI, which I'm familiar with, and we've had to do for all districts in Queens North at one time or another. It could only be high schools, for example. But even if it's only high school, as a reminder, if it's in geographic District 25, then it jeopardizes your good standing, status. So I've got a little
And we do have
anxiety.
one right now, right, Gus?
But no, you don't have any. That's why you're in good standing.
So, but QSI is off.
The school that is identified that yes, that's right. You're correct, because even though it belongs to a different superintendency, you are not in good standing. You're one of my two districts in Queens North that are not in good standing. So let's hope we don't get any more, Mike, that will add to the mix that either belong to you or belong to anybody else. But
Well, I certainly hope not.
yeah, State Ed is going to come out with that in February, and that'll affect Queens North as a whole, and then I'll have to work with each individual district team. My hope is I won't get any at all. That's my best case scenario, but that remains to be seen. So I'm expecting that information in February. Either you'll get it first, Mike, or I will get it first, and we'll communicate with each other and share, the information and see. But it's only TSI that they're identifying. They're not identifying any of the more severe categories. And they have this category of at-risk schools that has an acronym. They may do some identifications of those as well. But I don't think those will affect you're already in improvement status, but schools that are not in improvement status. But that is forthcoming, and I'm expecting it by the end of February. And I'll communicate with the district and the DLT as that information becomes available. And remember, everything is always based on the year before, so it's based on last year's data pretty much. Going forward, and takes a year for them, and it's 2 years of information that gets you identified, and then it's 2 years to get off. Just to remind you of what the procedure is. So, unless there are any questions, that's basically all I have to say. Thank you for being such an excellent district and keeping on top of everything the way you do.
All right, thank you, Gus. Eduardo, high school report?
Yes, let me share my screen. Here we go. Screen 2, share. Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I want to start by sharing that we have a family forum coming up Tuesday, January 28th from 6 to 7:30. All the information is on our website. So I want to share some of the events that happened in the month of December in some of our District 25 high schools. The horticulture class at John Bowen High School prepared these wonderful gifts to principals in our school district. And so it was a nice activity for them to, and then share with the principals in our district. At Robert F. Kennedy, we had a blood drive that was December 12th to celebrate the life of Angel Gomez, who was saved through blood donation. So that took place Thursday, December 12th at RFK. They also had a festivals in which the students participated and celebrated by sharing food, and also staff and parents were present. They also did a canned food drive and a coat drive. This is some of the pictures of the students here bringing the collected coats, all the donated coats to the 107 precinct. At Veritas Academy, students participated and they won 5 awards, 2 being Best Delegate Awards, and also one of the students was elected as the Vice President of the Yale Model Congress. And in continuing with our social emotional workshop for parents, we will have part 2 on January 16 of conflict resolution. So the information is also available on our website, and that's all the updates I have from high school. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo. Okay, for our Queens High School President's Council report, Shanette, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Okay, all right, so.
Eduardo, if you can unshare, that would be great.
Oh, sure. Hold on. I missed the screen. Where is it here? Oh, stop. Here we go. Okay.
Thank you.
There we go.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So for those who are not aware, the Queens High School President's Council is what my domain is currently, and I'm also the PTA president of Queens Gateway to Health Sciences Secondary School in Queens South District. And I am proud to say that I've now gotten over the jitters of the 86 high schools that I did not know I was going to be standing over, and they've been very supportive. I gave myself 3 months probation with our board, and we're now finally getting the jelly feet out of the way. So tonight we will be having our monthly meeting for January 2025 at 6:30, and we'll be having our chancellor at our meeting. And she'll be talking about, coincidentally, in alignment with what's going on, parent engagement, parent empowerment, and supporting parent leaders. So I will share out in the chat our flyer and meeting link that I would appreciate gets shared out with our schools for parents who are wanting to come and to hear what the city has in store for supporting us as parent leaders, because we're concerned about aging out parents like myself. I've been doing this for 8.5 years, I'm counting this year, where, the trust fund and the intellect and support of parents connecting to schools, we're recognizing it's going away. And we are concerned that the relationships between schools, principals, parent coordinators, PTAs, it's not as strong as it used to be and should be. And we're very supportive of the spotlight on parent engagement in the DCEP and the support for families. It's a matter of put up or shut up kind of a situation. So we've been sharing out with the chancellor at our monthly CPAC meetings, which is the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Committee, where we meet once a month, to let her know that parents are not feeling welcomed in our schools. SLT meetings are taking place, decisions are being made, things are happening, and we're on the end of an FYI life. And the concern is I am doing a lot of expedited elections because parents are signing up, and a month or two later, they're quitting, resigning, not responding, and then you're having schools out of compliance with your PTAs. So I'm encouraging transition schools, K through 5, 6, 6 through 8, because they're the ones that end up on our high school doors, that if we do not encourage parent engagement and parent empowerment from the younger years, we're not going to have the parent leaders for tomorrow. So I am hopeful that her coming tonight, and we're sharing it throughout the whole of Queens, to support the parents who stupidly, some of us, volunteer and show up and we just
No,
don't know.
we need you to keep showing up.
We can't
We
help
need you
it
to do
'cause
that.
we don't learn. We take the licks, and then there's some, good, bad, and in between, because we're all humans.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of there's a lot of information that we share at these meetings. Last month we had Mark Rampersand, the Chief Operating Officer for Safety and of our schools, and he talked about the new, doorbell. I call it doorbell safety, door system.
The safer access.
Right. And then we talked about, subway surfing, and we talked about, supporting special ed and middle school and high school applications from the Horizon programs, the NEST programs, District 75 parents feeling, this detached. So our meetings, we've had college info nights, and I'm sure Patricia shared out a lot last month. So we are encouraging parents, we do workshops how to run your PTA elections. If you don't know what you don't know, you don't know, kind of a thing. And we are recognizing that schools are depending a lot on the parent coordinators to fill that role. And I did a workshop for Queens North and South in September, telling parent coordinators that's not your job. It's okay. You say no. I want them to say no. We don't know anything about PTAs. We just help you coordinate your parents. It's not their job to be signing off on certification forms. It's not their job to be running elections. It's not their job to be vetting parents to see if they're family members at our meetings. So I am a strong advocate for keeping our lines separate, because we each have our role, and we want to strengthen that by letting them know, if you don't know, kick them back to the PTA, because we are the ones sitting at the SLT table, not the parent coordinators. We're the ones sitting at the DLT meetings. We're the ones sitting at the CEC meetings. So when I show up, I'm having that army behind me of parents who don't have a voice. We struggle with documents not being translated, and for example, at my school, we're 6 through 12, and there are parents that have no clue because stuff's not translated for them. So I applaud you, Michael, for translating the DCP for the district, because that's a big deal. It's not shared out. Now they've moved us to the iPlan portal. The city's not posting them automatically anymore on the school city websites. And that's part of the problem. It's like saying you did it, but you didn't do it. So no one knows iPlan portal to go and look for it. No one knows that it exists, that there is this Bible of a comprehensive education plan for our schools. So that's the hill I sit on and bang really loud.
Yeah, no, listen, I think it's really hard. As a parent, I have two kids. I have an 8th grader and a 10th grader. And
God bless
listen,
you.
I would love to say that
In between. My ninth grader. I'm
would love
jealous
to
of your
say that.
10th grader.
Yeah, I would love to say that I'm as invested, and I'm a superintendent of a district, and it's not easy being a parent and also being someone who has a job,
Yes.
whatever that job is. And so sustaining the importance of parent leadership is really, really important, because the reality is, yes, it tends to be the same people that wind up stepping up over and over and over again.
And then we age out.
And part of us as a district is continuing to convey that message and the importance of folks stepping up. It tends to be a struggle, and it's something that we have to continue to support as much as we possibly can, which is why I'm so fortunate. I mean, Esther is no longer here, but she was really terrific at helping supporting that. Jenny is terrific at supporting that. I know Eduardo works really, really hard in that space as a family leadership coordinator in his own through the high school. So it is that constant space of reconnecting with our parent community to make them aware that we need you.
Right. Yeah, it's the
we can't do
vacuum
this
we're
thing
worried
called
about
school without them. But
well, you should be at our meeting tonight, Mr. 8th and 10th grader parents, because we're going to be doing for the first time breakout rooms for families to do one-on-one with their district teams. so they don't have to feel shame in talking in the main room. You have a problem, we'll give you 10, 15 minutes to talk to your superintendent, because a lot of parents struggle where they're not being heard within their schools. And superintendents are in that rare air where we don't have access to. So we're going to give them the opportunity. If you have issues, you come, you get 10 minutes, 50 minutes, talk in private, share your concerns, and then, you want to share, that's fine. So we're usually pretty top heavy, Eduardo knows, at our meetings. It gets pretty crowded. So I'm working with what we got. So I thank you for the space, and you guys are really appreciated. Queens North is being featured tonight, so that's a good
Yeah, let's go Queens North. Love it.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you
gonna
so
be
much,
the
Internet.
we're gonna be the first one in Internet's hot seat tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Internet hot seat.
So yeah, so thank you guys.
Let it sizzle, Eduardo. Let it sizzle.
Yes, they will.
Okay, Rachel. Oh, you're on mute, Rachel.
Our next meeting has been pushed to the 27th because the 20th is Martin Luther King Day. Of course, we will start off with the illustrious superintendent's report. We are going to be having 2 district team representatives present on HMH. Anna Arrigo, and I think I don't remember the second person.
Probably Melinda for middle school.
I think it's Melinda. Yes. Then Jenny will be talking about the CEC elections and the forums that are coming up for parents to nominate themselves, and how small of a percentage are of those that vote. So we also have to get the word out about voting. I'll be having a PTA update, kind of cutting it close, but the interim budget reports for our PTAs are due by January 31st. So just a reminder to all the presidents to follow up with their treasurers to make sure that that happens. And then I did have a question for the DLT based on something that came out in the CPAC meeting, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council. One of our districts brought up to the Chancellor about how many budget appeal schools they had in their district and how to best support them, which led me to wonder how many of those schools do we have in our district. I know personally at 499, our budget is extremely tight. So I didn't know, I don't know if that's a question for you or for Gus about budget appeal schools in District 25.
Yeah, we do have a handful. It's not as extensive as some of the other districts in New York City. We have I want to say 22, I think it is now, Title I schools. So typically our Title I schools are schools that do not have concerns budgetarily. But we do have a handful of schools that are that have had to go through the appeals process. I have to just go back and double check which ones before I don't want to give misinformation, but I have 4 or 5 that pop into my head right now. But I can double check on the specific ones, Rachel, and give you back a number.
Okay.
But I don't want to do that off the top of my head. I wasn't in that space to
Right.
necessarily
of
pull
course.
that out of the mental out of the
course.
archives, but we do have a handful of schools that are appeal schools, mostly
And
because
then-
of the size of the building and the number of children enrolled. That typically is the reason why we tend to have those appeal schools.
And then in conjunction with that, how can we, as President's Council, support our parent leaders if there's any way that we can support them, or if that's simply something that's at an administrative level, in whatever that process is, just as a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
And-
So yeah, go ahead.
No, and that's it.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Yeah. So a lot of those things we're a community that's blessed with a really amazing budget director. She really works really hard with the schools to make sure that whatever it is that they need to sustain the environment, she works really hard with our building leaders, changing money, changing funding lines and all of that, organizing so that they have what's necessary to sustain a productive program. But places in terms of supports from our PAPTAs, always certainly welcome, wherever that additional support can come in for, other programs that the school might not necessarily ordinarily be able to sustain on their own. That certainly is helpful. But yeah, we can talk more through that, and I'll kind of organize the list of schools that's in that circumstance. But it's
Okay.
not a huge number in D25.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay. CSA, Mr. Marino.
Hey, Mike, nothing really pressing. Pretty much every principal in the district is looking forward to putting together some Lunar New Year celebration of some type. I know we're working on that, and all of my colleagues are working hard on that celebration. We're looking forward to hearing back from the city on those class size reduction applications. Just piggybacking on what you said before in the beginning about AI, that application was long. And some of my colleagues had said that it had taken many hours to complete, and those who used some type of AI assistance they were able to greatly reduce the amount of time and even increase how well it was filled out. If you know how to use some of these tools. So I'm looking forward to being a part of any type of work associated with productivity and artificial intelligence, and be on the forefront of that. And that's it.
Awesome. And yeah, listen, I would love for any DLT member that's interested in, and we can even organize ourselves a separate, and Rob and I talked about this a couple of months ago, just about organizing maybe perhaps a subcommittee of sorts that just starts exploring a little bit around AI, because it does create an opportunity. There's no doubt for efficiency, for and that's just for us, but there's so many avenues for kids. Was actually, believe it or not, having a conversation with a group of my friends this weekend, and they were talking about even concerns for the world of our actors and actresses, because kids with their own hands could enter in their own little story that generates a whole movie with characters that look like human beings but are made up. They're not actual human beings, and they're going through their lines and their scripts as though they were an actor or an actress. And that's the reality. Do we need actors and actresses anymore if I can generate you right on my computer? So, those are the types of things that are at our fingertips that can help our kids go to that next level of thinking and creativity. So, but anyway, thank you for that, Rob. I see Sharnette and Rachel, then Gus.
Okay, so I'll lower my hand. Okay, so the whole AI, wait, not raising my hand. So I was happy when you mentioned it earlier, but it got opened up right again now, saying we were going to hold the conversation. But I have a quick story. My 9th grader, she's like, sometimes we forget how our kids are in their levels of education, but apparently my kids is somewhat, smart with reading. So she comes home and she says, Mommy, in the middle of me reading Iliad, the English teacher gives me Animal Farm to read. I'm like, oh, wow, you're reading Animal Farm. Great. Yay. So we had a test and she showed us a video. And unfortunately for some of them, it was chapters 1 through 6. And she didn't align the video right and showed the ending of who got killed. So kids were falling all over the place. They never got to the end of the book. So the test was Thursday. She showed the video Tuesday to get them caught up to capture chapters 1 through 6. Here's the kicker. She comes home. She has a 99.5% average in this class, ELA 9th grade, because that's her thing. She reads, she gets in trouble for reading, right? It's a good problem I have. So she says, Mommy, I know you're going to get upset, but I'm letting you know it dropped to 85. I'm like, I don't understand what you just said. What is an 8 and a 5? In whose world? In my house? And I'm that helicopter parent. So then she says, it's not my fault. They love that phrase. I'm like, I don't understand. It's 20 questions, Animal Farm, in your sleep, multiple choice. What happened? She says the teacher gave them a test using AI. USC says. So I said, what? I don't understand. So what's the problem? She says the quotes were not in the book. And she went to the teacher and said, these quotes that you gave in these questions are not accurate and are not in the book. My child read Animal Farm when she was 6 years old. It's one of her favorite books. She knows the book inside out. So I was like, I don't understand what you just said. What do you mean AI did your test? I then go to the principal and she says, oh, yes, which was news to me as a parent. And I think this is part of the information sharing that we talk about, that I'm not going to say UFT, I'm not going to say district, but educators and principals got a training on using AI in the schools. The only group not allowed to use AI in the classroom is for AP classes. And I understand why. So then I said to the principal, how then will my child feel that she got 5 wrong out of 20 because the quotes, as far as she's concerned, is not in the book, but she got it wrong? What is the accountability to us as teachers and as humans? Because I use AI. I'm a tech person. That's all I'm going to say. If you are not understanding of how to use the tool, you could hurt your audience. So when you now have imparted to children quotes from a book who probably aren't reading it in details, as they get older, they might be talking to someone who has read the book, will look at this human and say, my teacher said. So we give our teachers the role and responsibility to be the smart ones in the room as these kids are concerned. But my daughter went to the teacher and she said, this is not in the book. The teacher.
Yeah, Shanette, I think, point certainly well taken. I think,
there's a
for
way
us,
to use the tool.
yeah, it's
You should have asked, you
how
should
are
have
we
asked
getting,
it. When you put the thing in, you have to say to it, make sure the quotes are exactly from, you have to put it in, it's a programming language.
yeah, it's not just using a tool for tool's sake, right? It's about how do we use it well.
Right.
And I
The
think
right
like
way.
any other resource that we might come across,
We have to be
it's
careful.
not just, okay, I generated it and I don't look at it, right? It's got to be, I'm using it for purpose. I'm reviewing, because we still have to be the knowing others, right? It's
right. So
it's
then
still,
what happens
yeah.
to that classroom as educators? We're not having our principals self-check our teachers, because the teachers you can't control the lesson plan or the test given, but a kid not knowing that, whoever got killed, he didn't get hung, he got shot, but the quote says, by the way, he died. You are now putting that as a fact in that child's head to continue their educational journey, and they'll be in a class, let's say college, and they'll blurt out, well, he got shot. They're like, what are you talking about? He got, well, that's what my teacher said in you got it wrong because you never read. It's a bad version of Cliff Notes. And it's
I think it's the responsible use of this information, which is why, I mean, and sounding by your entry into
last
this
week.
entry into this chat is that, if you guys are interested, I would love to start having deeper conversations around more or less what's the vision for that, for the district community. Before we can start getting it deeper into schools, I think we have to have our own solid definition of what that vision should be. That we then bring to our building leaders, bring to our assistant principals, to our teachers, so that we're starting to build our mindset around it, so that we have as few examples of inappropriate use as possible. Because listen, the reality is it's there. And sometimes it works out great, and other times it's not gonna, because we haven't learned it well enough yet. Just because it's there doesn't mean we're experts in it yet. It's something we have to grow and learn through. So like I said, if there's an interest, I think that's something we can start beginning that conversation from the layers. And I love it from the layer of parent, building leader, teacher, so that we're all organizing our thoughts together. And then it could become and Trinette, you probably haven't seen this, but we have our motto is around this idea of strong roots, strong schools, and the tree is the model. But what I've started to kind of play around with is starting to make all of the branches on our tree equivalent to some kind of space, whether it's AI, social emotional learning, mathematics, literacy, and we're kind of conveying our thoughts and our vision for each of those areas within our overarching strong roots, strong schools mindset.
Right.
So, more to follow on that, but I would love it if those that are interested in getting deeper into this conversation, because it's not going anywhere.
No.
The reality of the technology field is upon us, and we have to start learning how to use it really, really well and responsibly inside of our
Responsibly.
classrooms.
Correct. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, just adding on that, I'm an elementary school principal, and I don't see the use of it by students, right? But I'm confident that once they go to middle school, they will begin using it. And I think it's incumbent upon me as an elementary school principal to start teaching students the ethical and responsible use of AI, so that when they are faced with using it in a way that maybe is against their best interest, whether they know it or not, that they're familiar with it.
Mm.
And I think that adults need to be ahead of this curve, especially in the lower grades, while we're able to really, as they're growing and their ethics are developing, I think we need to expose them to this. And I think that right now in education, people are just shying away from it. Like, don't use AI. Let's get away from it. It's the scourge
Yeah.
on society. It is not. It is what it is now is the worst version of it. Right. Every day it gets better and more difficult to identify. And we need to be on the forefront. This is the new
I was
thing.
fortunate, and Gus was there for this too. And then Rachel, I'll get to you. They held oh my goodness, it wasn't titled CEP, but they had a whole session around the comprehensive education plan earlier in I want to say November, I think it was. They had us at Brooklyn Tech, and they had Sophia the robot was presenting to the audience, right? And part of the questions that they were asking Sophia the robot was around that. How do we prevent children from doing things that are not aligned with what we would want to see them do, i.e. plagiarism and so on? And what the response was that we have to start thinking about how kids present information differently. So it's not so much that you AI generated your response, but now talk to me about explaining it. Explain your thinking that came from that, because that says whether you learned the concept or not. It's not just that you were able to generate this, but now explain what it is that you've learned, and that changes our assessment of student learning.
Yep.
Changes too in this process. So all of the thinking that's got to go through this is still has to be developed, in my opinion. We're certainly not there by any stretch, but I think it's now allowing us to generate some really important conversations, and would love to do that with all of you guys for sure. Rachel, and then Gus, and I think we just have Monique to kind of close us out with DC 37.
I had actually had this on my list to cover and I forgot. We had the fortunate privilege to have our resident genius, Lewis, at our December President's Council give a demonstration of how to use AI to create meeting minutes. And I shared that video portion with my personal PTA recording secretary, and she had the minutes done in less than 5 minutes and was ecstatic to be able to utilize this AI in that purpose.
And
And-
remember, one of the things that we spoke about during that meeting was, and this goes back to what our
Reviewing it.
high school president's council was talking about. We don't just take that and send it in. It's just a starting point, and a human still has to go through it and
review
tweak
it.
and
Yep.
right.
Make sure for accuracy, yeah.
But to have the
100%.
format done that quickly without sitting there and typing all that and all the bullets and how to summarize, and considering the fact that for President's Council, we went 3 months without a recording secretary, having this type of AI feature would now hopefully prevent something like that, because it's going to make that task, which could be onerous, a breeze. So from a parent leader's perspective, it was a wonderful foray into AI for the first time.
Yeah, love that. Love that, Rachel. Gus.
Yeah, two things. One, a technical one that I forgot to mention during my presentation, and Rob reminded me of it, is that all schools now have to do progress monitoring. So there are a number of schools that are lagging behind on the progress monitoring. I sent a report out last week. I assume I'll be getting another one. So schools will have to be reminded to do that. And it's all schools now, as opposed to a subset of schools as it was in the past. And then on the AI issue, the real challenge in my mind is that the the difference between reality and simulated reality is being blurred. And students and educators have a real challenge in equipping students with the tools to be able to distinguish between what's real and what is a simulated reality. And we already have a big challenge in education in having students and young people and lots of adults distinguish between fact and opinion. What's a fact and what is actually an opinion about something. So this is a great challenge going forward. And we, as educators and as an educational system, I think it's really important that they begin, that systematically education begin putting tools into place that will help students be able to make that distinction between reality and simulated reality, because going forward, it's going to become really more and more complex.
Yeah, thank you, Gus. And just real quick, the progress monitoring piece, one of the learnings that will have to be there, and it's not that our building leaders didn't enter, because the vast majority of our building leaders did enter the progress monitoring. Unfortunately, it's just being aware that if you leave a field blank because there's not any information to share and don't put in the NA, it came up as incomplete. It wasn't that our schools were not progress monitoring. They had all the fields with the exception to one because there was not anything to enter. And it came up as though that they weren't progress monitoring. So all of those schools have been communicated with. I do suspect that the next change that you see in that report will be very different. But it wasn't because schools weren't progress monitoring. It was because there was a field that was blank, and it comes up as incomplete for the whole CEP. So that's something just for your awareness, Gus, that should be different the next time you go
Actually,
through.
you pointed that out to me, and I thank you for it. It's a technical issue. I have a meeting with Central this afternoon, and I'm going to point that out to the Central team so they're aware of it, and they should take it into account if they can in terms of these reports, or at least warn all of my colleagues that this is an issue.
Well, yeah,
That
the
they
only
need to
way
be
that they
aware of.
would know, because as soon as I got the report, I went to everyone's CEP. That's
Okay.
that's just what I do. I go in and I want to make sure that I see what's going on. And when you see a report where you have a certain number of schools that are being identified as not doing something, that's just not our district. So, it wasn't that there was not something happening. It was because there was a field that was blank. But anyway, thank you for that.
Well,
And
and
Monique,
thank you, Dr. Mike, for finding that out.
yeah, you got it. Monique, close us up on our constituent reports.
Okay, so the Office of Food and Nutrition is currently changing the way that they are hiring for kitchen staff. Anyone who's interested needs to visit, and this is for families in your community, schools.nyc.gov/OFNS. Scroll down to, there's a place where you can scroll down to and complete a form. They just want to control the amount of number of people that are coming to the Long Island City location for interviews. Also, they have changed the criteria for managers. They are short managers throughout the city of New York, not just District 25. I don't know if District 25 is, but I know there are other districts that are. So before you used to have 2 years of college. Now they're asking for a high school diploma and 5 years of experience in food services. That could be hotel, that could be fast food. So anywhere that you have 5 years of experience in
Oh, that's
food
great.
service. So all of that can be, there is also a link on the OFNS website. They also have an Instagram account. But it's on the DOE website. you're going to go to schools.nyc.gov/OFNS. And so they're looking for managers, and they're also looking for kitchen staff. DC 37, a thank you to Allison Padone. I know she's not on this meeting, but thank you to her for helping me organize and my colleague organize Queens districts for the new employee orientation. It's very difficult for us to capture everybody in all these different schools. So whenever we have an opportunity, we're scheduling a specific date. I'm hoping to do another one either to be at the end of January, beginning of February, to bring in all the new employees that were hired, so that we can share with them, kind of do sort of an onboarding, not so much for the DOE, but there is some aspects of Department of Education in our presentation. And thank you so much for, we utilized Linden Place. Believe we were on I want to say the 5th floor. I'm not 100%
So probably
sure.
4 or 6 of the
Yes,
conference rooms.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah, 6th floor. So thank you to the HR staff at District 25 for helping us put that together. And I believe that is it. I mentioned that we were made aware. I know you have a pilot program. There are a few schools, but the goal is to be in every single school, the nutrition committee. So that's going to be taking place in a kind of a process of over the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say. I just met with one of my school visits, and one of the kids said, "Can't we just meet with the nutritionists in the school so that we could talk to them about the food?" It was really,
Yeah.
really cute. It was a 3rd grade student that actually said it, believe it or not, which was really, really interesting. But foods always comes up. It always comes
Yeah.
up. And
Well,
I
what
don't
they
know.
have to say is very important because, I mean, I know for me as a parent, I was never happy with the food that was being served. It was there, but kids have opinions, they have
Yeah,
likes and
sure.
dislikes.
They're the ones that are eating it.
Yes, they're the ones that are eating it, exactly. And I've been to the CEE kitchens, which unfortunately elementary schools are not part of that program, but those are the enhanced kitchens where they upgrade the kitchen. It's a grab and go. There's more of a selection. The menu is more detailed and more oriented towards different foods, salads, with pasta, and they can come up and choose whatever they want to choose instead of it just being put. And then it comes along with brand new cafeteria furniture. So, but it's really geared towards middle and high school, and hopefully if it's successful enough, it'll get to the elementaries. But
Awesome.
yes.
So Monique, something that we might want to even just touch base with, maybe you can just share all the information, or maybe even want to take a quick little visit to, we have the D79 program. It's ESL classes as well as, moving towards a GED program. We have a lot of parents at IS 237, some of whom have shared that they would love to go into the field of something connected to food.
Okay.
That maybe perhaps might be a little entry, not for some folks that are right within our community that might want to apply
Oh, okay. Yes,
for
I could
such a role.
definitely find. Yes, I can reach out to OFNS and see if someone can come out maybe and speak
Yeah,
at
it
one
might
of
be
their
a nice thing they
classes.
can add as part of their program. They want to just maybe pop in and share. I don't know. I don't know. Might be a nice opportunity for some of the folks
Yeah.
that are looking to, one, build their language, but also have
Mhm.
an employment opportunity.
And you know what,
So
language, though we think language is necessary, I've been to several kitchens, it's not, it's not mandatory. We have many, many
yeah,
immigrant
no, but you know what?
families.
I think perhaps some of the young adults, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent. It could be anyone that's 21 and older
Correct.
from within our district is participating in the D79 program that we have. That very well might be interested. And, they're coming to learn, but maybe they want to get an employment opportunity at the same time. So,
That's true. So
yeah.
what do you know what days IS 237?
They're there every day.
Oh, every day.
Yeah, they're there every day.
Okay. All right.
But I can connect with you more on that. So if you,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't have to happen right this second. But so as you were talking, it just connected with me. That might be something that's nice for some of our community members that might be interested.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you. I
I can
appreciate
give you
it.
more information, Monique, about the time schedule at IS
Okay.
237.
Great. Thank you, Jenny.
Okay, so that brings our meeting to a close in terms of all of our constituent groups. Does anyone have any new business that they would like to bring up? Okay. It is 12 after 11. Can we come to consensus to close out the meeting? Getting a thumbs up. Perfect. Our next meeting is on February 10th. We'll send out the information to you guys. I typically do it the Friday before our meeting, just as a reminder. You'll have the presentations and the agenda available to you guys. But thank you so much for the info. And again, if you're interested in participating in some kind of an AI conversation, let me know. I think that'd be a pretty cool one for us to start talking about.
Okay. You can
Have a
sign
great
me up.
day, everyone.
Have a good night. Bye, guys.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a
Yeah.
good day.
Bye.
Thanks for everything, Dr. Mike.
Thank you.